What if the woman you fell in love with wasn't even human? Can you believe in magic if your life has been nothing but pain? And what happens when fantasy meets brutal reality? Ondine isn't your average love story. It's part fairy tale, part tragedy, and completely unforgettable. Today, we're breaking down the film, a hauntingly beautiful movie that will have you questioning what's real and what's just wishful thinking. The story begins in a small gray fishing village on the Irish coast. It's quiet, misty, and soaked in sorrow. Our main character, Syracuse, played by Colin Farrell, is a fisherman. One day, while piling up his nets, he discovers something impossible. A woman, tangled in his net, barely breathing, drenched in seawater. She doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want to go to a hospital. She doesn't even want to be named. So he calls her Ondine, a name taken from a European myth about water spirits. And from that moment on, nothing in Syracuse's life will ever be the same. Is Ondine really a mythical creature or just a broken woman running from something worse? This is the question that drives the entire movie. At first, Ondine is silent, mysterious. She hides in Syracuse's mother's old cottage, refuses to be seen. But strange things begin to happen. Syracuse suddenly starts catching more fish, lots more. Locals joke about his magic woman bringing him luck. But Annie, Syracuse's young daughter, doesn't think it's a joke. Annie has kidney failure. She's in a wheelchair, but she's also sharp, clever, and absolutely convinced that Ondine is a Selkie, a mythical seal woman who comes ashore to fall in love with a human man. And honestly, we start to believe it too. Ondine sings in a language no one understands. Fish swarm to her song, and every time she touches the water, the sea seems to react. There's a beautiful emotional moment where Ondine and Annie bond. Syracuse, for the first time in years, is smiling. He's falling for her, and the two of them share a deep and intimate connection. He even brings her to confession, where he talks to the priest like a therapist. She's not from this world, he says, and he wants to believe it, because the real world, it's failed him over and over again. Still watching? Then you're clearly into stories that cut deep. Stick around for more recaps like Ondine by subscribing to Recap Studio. We break down the movies you feel, not just watch. About halfway through the film, things shift. A dark figure arrives in town. A mysterious man, Eastern European, asking questions. He's looking for her. Suddenly, this gentle fairy tale becomes a slow-burning thriller. The man confronts Syracuse, asking questions about Ondine, but he ignores him. Syracuse shifts his focus back to Annie, who is undergoing dialysis and is losing hope that she will ever find a donor. Syracuse takes Annie to stay with her mother in the city, but whilst he's away, the mysterious man finds his way to Syracuse's house, where Ondine is hiding. When Syracuse arrives home, he can't find Ondine anywhere, but eventually finds her hiding behind his house. He confronts Ondine, asks who she really is and why this man is looking for her, and finally, she breaks down. She's not a Selkie, she's not magical. She tells him the man is her husband, and she is frightened that he will find her. In the meantime, Syracuse is unaware that Annie was in a car accident with her mother and her mother's boyfriend, who was fatally killed. Annie and her mother sustained some injuries, but luckily they survived. Syracuse rushed to Annie's bedside, where she lay unconscious. But then, something happens. Hope. The doctor shares the news that her mother's boyfriend was a registered donor and a perfect match for her transplant. Annie has a chance at a new life. Syracuse returns to his boat where Ondine was still hiding and tells her she should go back to her husband. But she tells him he's not her husband. She's not even married. Feeling betrayed and tired of her lies, Syracuse is convinced that Ondine must be a creature from the sea after all. Fed up with this emotional roller coaster, Syracuse leaves Ondine by the sea, where he feels she belongs, and returns home to his daughter. Is Syracuse finally saved, or is happiness just a cruel illusion in disguise? When Syracuse hears a French song on the television, he recognizes it as the same song that Ondine sung when they were out fishing and quickly realizes that she was telling the truth. He had made a big mistake. He heads back to the place that he left her by the sea and finds her, cold, trembling, but alive. The pain in her eyes when she tells the truth, it's heartbreaking. Ondine reveals that the man is a dangerous drug dealer who she used to work with, smuggling drugs across the border. When a job went bad and they were caught by the police, she escaped by swimming away, but had to ditch the drugs in the ocean. She ended up tangled in Syracuse's net by accident. Now he wants his drugs back, or Ondine's life. She said she had changed and left that life behind. Convinced, Syracuse brought Ondine back to his house. But to their surprise, they found the man waiting for Ondine inside, where he was holding Annie hostage. The man brutally attacks Ondine when she isn't able to give him his drugs, and Annie says that she hid them on her dad's boat. The man searches the boat and threatens their life if they're lying. Seeing her chance to get rid of him once and for all, Ondine throws the man overboard, where his fate is sealed. She is free at last. Ondine ends not with magic, but with meaning. Syracuse and Ondine get married. Annie gets her transplant, and the three of them, they become a family. But even in the final scene, as they ride off in a small boat across misty water, you still feel the echo of the myth. Because maybe Ondine wasn't a Selkie. Maybe she really was just a lost woman who washed ashore. But to Syracuse and Annie, she was exactly what they needed her to be. A miracle. And that's the brilliance of this movie. If this story moved you, shook you, or left you speechless, you'll definitely want to check out our recap of The Maze Runner, a gripping survival thriller packed with mystery and betrayal. Or dive into Jackpot, a chaotic ride where bad luck turns deadly real. Hit that subscribe button to join the journey with Recap Studio, where every story leaves a mark. Until next time, stay curious.